All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again for a very, very quick one. I thought we'll bring this one to your attention because it is extremely disturbing. This one right here is not making any sense to me at this moment in time. R.I.P. to Anne Widdecombe. She was found brutally murdered in her home only a few days ago. And look, I don't want to go into the whole politics. I don't want to go down that route about politics and her views and her opinions and so on and so forth. But I do want to try and understand how something like this can happen in a beautiful area called Dartmoor. In fact, we have the messages between Anne and Channel 5. These messages would have taken place whilst this was happening. A Channel 5 producer responding to Anne in order to put together this show that they were doing that afternoon, I believe, or they were having some type of meeting via Zoom, and Anne just stopped responding. We're going to take a look at those messages. We're also going to find out what's actually taking place here, and I'm also going to share my concerns. My concerns with the investigation. There's some things that are just not making any sense to me, and I want people to make it make sense for me. What's actually taking place here? Anne Widdecombe, 78, was found dead in her rural home on Thursday after suffering serious injuries. Detectives believe she was attacked in her home at around 12:30 on Wednesday, almost 24 hours before her body was discovered. This is where it starts to get pretty questionable. Based on the information, there's one guy that can be seen on Anne's surveillance cam. Now, I'm not too sure if they were able to identify that guy, but I believe the same guy could be seen getting into a van or driving a van, which was also seen in the same area. Now, if that's the case, they look at the CCTV, they see the guy, they see the van, number plate X, Y, and Z. What leads the police to arresting a 26-year-old 20 miles away? They arrested a 26-year-old man, but they released him with no further action. Why? So they've arrested this man instantaneously. Off the back of seeing CCTV, off the back of seeing this white van, they've arrested this man who only lives 20 miles away. After thoroughly interrogating this guy, they have released him with no further action, so it's clearly the wrong guy. Then all of a sudden, the following day, we get another arrest of a 28-year-old man. But this guy is from Yorkshire. So this is where it gets really, really weird, because I'm thinking, hold on, Yorkshire is miles away. We're talking over 250 miles away from where Anne lives. So what is this person doing there? And how did you know this was the person? And if this is the person, why did you arrest the 26-year-old? See, I mean, at this point, it's kind of confusing. What I want to know is what's led them to arrest two different people, letting one of them go with an NFA. What do the police think at this point? So they are keeping an open mind about the motive. There's no evidence at present that the killing was politically motivated or terrorism related. That makes no sense to me at this moment in time. You're basically telling us at this point that a random guy from 250 miles away from Rotherham in Yorkshire travelled all the way to Dartmoor out of all places. And out of all of the people in that locality, he stumbles across a high-profile politician who has recently transferred from Conservative to Reform. And there's nothing dodgy about that. Nothing dodgy about that whatsoever. This is just normal. So on that basis, there's nothing political about this. There's nothing political about this whatsoever. Although she had views that a number of people didn't agree with. Detectives continue to appeal for information from anyone who may have been in the area around the relevant time. So that's what the police are saying. So here are the messages that we have between Anne Widdecombe and Channel 5 producer shortly before she died. We've got Anne in the grey and the producer in the green. So Anne basically says, not yet, looked a few seconds ago. So it seems like the producer is asking Anne to look for something and Anne just can't find it yet. The producer goes on to say, hi, they said they sent it to you, but maybe it's to the wrong email address. Now, I think they're trying to send a link for Anne because Anne is going on to some type of Zoom call or something like that. But Anne says, we spoke. Sorry for the confusion. I can't see now that what I refused today was extra time. Old age is a terrible thing. The producer responds saying, would you mind sending me the address you would like to receive it from? She then sends the email address. The producer says that's strange because that's the email address that they sent it to. They done that at 9:20 this morning. But don't worry, I'll send it to you now. And she says, I just sent it to that address. Let me know once you've got it. Anne responds saying, received, panic over. Now look at the time that she sends that message. 12:19. So it's 20 past 12 in the afternoon. Producer responds saying, amazing, let me know if there's any issues. Within half an hour of Anne telling the producer that she received the email, within half an hour, she is unresponsive. She is not responding. So we're talking about midday, during the day, getting prepared for a meeting, Anne is attacked in her home. So it then makes you question, why was there a prowler in Dartmoor around Anne's home at 12:30 in the afternoon? You know, you would kind of expect these things to happen at night, but no, this is confirmation that whatever happened to Anne happened during the day, midday, before 1 o'clock, because she's unresponsive. She's not responding to any of the messages. She's not responding to any of the calls. So whatever's happening with Anne is happening at that moment in time. Whether she is being attacked at that moment in time, whether she's sitting down with the perpetrator, trying to talk her way out of it at that moment in time, we don't know. We don't know. But whatever it was took place at that moment in time. For me, that instantly writes off this being a random attack. I don't think this was random. Whoever the attacker was knew who Anne was. That's just my opinion, my thoughts towards the information. Bearing in mind, the two people that have been arrested, one of them is 20 miles away, NFA, got nothing to do with this. Don't know how they got that wrong. And then the second person is from Yorkshire, past Birmingham. Dartmoor is down south, near Dorset, Devon. It's like 5 hours away. What was this person doing there? What were they doing there at 12:30 during the afternoon? And another thing that's been brought to my attention from people that I know who live in the local area to Dartmoor, they believe whoever done this would have had to have been overly familiar with the Dartmoor area. You know, I can't really remember the explanation that they gave me, but based on how the area is designed, based on the landscape of that area, whoever would have committed this crime would have had to have been overly familiar with the area because it's not that easy to navigate. If that's the case, what are we talking about? This can't have just been random then. High-profile politician killed in her home. Bearing in mind, this is the third political murder we've had here in the UK in the last decade. I don't know if that has any relevance to this, but it's context. And although we're being told not to speculate, I get it. Based on the information we're being given, things are just not adding up. Things are not making any sense. It's just a weird case. It's just extremely weird. But the bottom line is an innocent person has lost their life here. Like I said earlier, regardless of politics, regardless of views, opinions, and how people feel about other people's views and opinions, human first and foremost. And a situation like this, as horrific as this, it's extremely devastating, and I don't care what anyone's got to say. Anne Widdecombe did not deserve to lose her life in this way. No one deserves it, unless you're a PDF, you know, PDF and anyone along those lines, yeah. But Anne, for views and opinions, no. Absolutely disgusting. Whether you agree or disagree with her views or opinions, it's absolutely atrocious, and there's no way this should have taken place. Hopefully they give us some answers. They give us a clearer understanding of what's actually taking place here. You know, give us some transparency about the investigation. You know, why did they arrest the initial guy? Why did they arrest the second guy? What led them to arresting the second guy? And what's actually going on from there. You know, that would be interesting to know. We potentially will be back with another video, especially if there are any red flags that do occur in the investigation, things that are not making any sense, inconsistencies. You know how it goes. Be sure to hit that like button. Most importantly, leave all your thoughts and all your comments and all your opinions down below, but be respectful, ladies and gentlemen. Be respectful when leaving those comments. Remember, someone has lost their life here. So take that into account when leaving your comments. But be sure to leave those comments, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if we're newly watching, turn your notification bells on. We're going to be back with more videos. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.